Hey guys, it's Misha and welcome back to my channel. So today I want to do a movie review of something I watched when I was on a flight. It's called They/Them. The funniest thing about this though is that when I wanted to watch it, when I clicked on it, it gave me a trigger warning. But I took my chances and it actually surprised me. So we're going to be talking about this movie. But before we start, please make sure you are subscribed and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of my videos. So this movie is about a conversion camp. We are introduced to all of the attendees as well as the counselors. Now, the counselor, he is saying, you know, we're all here to find our truths, but if you want to be heterosexual, for example, like, we're gonna help you with that. That's why you're here.
The idea of this place is not to come out more straight or less gay. Of course, we hope that through your time here, you will discover a gender-normative lifestyle that is authentic for you, but you must find your own truth.
Everyone has to pick a cabin. Now, Jordan, being a they/them, is very confused and says, I don't know where to go. I'm neither a man or a woman. Spoiler alert, in case you wanted to watch this movie, which I don't know, is that very likely? Probably not, but in case.
I'm trans and non-binary. I use they/them pronouns. I'm assuming you don't have an all-gender cabin?
No, not currently. Obviously, we need one.
Maybe so.
I acknowledge and respect your transition.
So a lot of them talk about wanting to become straight, and that's why they're there. Some of them, they made like a deal with their family members and they don't really want to be here.
I don't want to waste my soul fighting this thing. Just want to make it go away.
I want to be entertained.
I want to live my life.
I want to fit in.
I want to be loved.
And then for some reason, they're brought out into the forest at night to do this other activity where they're handcuffed to each other and they're just walking around and they're all dressed like they're part of a cult. Oh, and there are random scenes where you think there's going to be a murder and then there's not, which is really annoying because this movie's supposed to be scary.
It's okay, conversion camp. Nothing about it's right.
I know, but I would understand it a whole lot more if there was a lot more Bible thumping and queer bashing. But there's not. That's what scares me.
Who is that?
And then we have that creepy therapist.
You try to make yourself special so they'll see you, so they'll notice you, so they'll love you.
And there's a moment where she talks about why these people seem to want to have all these different identities and labels and how maybe they just don't feel special enough. So she actually drops a truth bomb there and she's saying things that make sense. But then they just have to have her say slurs and like creepily smile like this. It's like you can have a character say something true without making it seem homophobic or transphobic. Like that's a very true thing that for some, not all, but some individuals from Gen Z especially, people just want to collect labels and they don't really identify with that, but seen as cool. So she talks about that, but then immediately just, you know, calls them slurs.
You become they. Honey, it's not gonna work. Ugly little
So she upsets a lot of them, and then it's nighttime, and for whatever reason, they break out into a musical number where they're singing a Pink song about accepting themselves and being perfect. And it was done in such an awkward way. It really just came out of nowhere, and they all just started singing.
It's enough, I've done all I can think of, chase down all my demons. Oh!
World scared, so I swallow my fear. The only thing I should be drinking is a nice cold beer.
Do it all the time.
Why do we do that? Why do I do that?
Why do I do that?
Yeah!
And again, there's a moment where Jordan, the non-binary character, is asking, why do I have this label? What could it mean? Like, at least they're asking the question. Like, do I really need to feel special? Is that why, you know, I'm doing this? But then they kind of cut that short and then they break out into song.
How we are, how we present ourselves, how true that all is. All these masks.
We need the masks to protect ourselves.
But I mean, are we choosing all this?
Do you think we are?
No, sometimes.
So complicated.
We'll convert your children.
That was a good point. Like, let's stay on it. No, because then that makes you the villain. So Jordan finds some disturbing photos looking through the camp counselor's drawer, and Molly comes in and is shocked because these are photos of abused children who were at the camp, and they're trying to make a plan, trying to figure out what to do. Then we have the women taught about traditional gender roles. So they're all brought to the kitchen, and one of the counselors, she's making this pie, but also flirting with one of the girls who is gay. Before we continue, I want to talk about today's sponsor, which is Private Internet Access VPN, or PIA for short, is the world's most transparent VPN provider. They have over 30 million downloads, and you're connected to public Wi-Fi networks like at a coffee shop or at an airport. Hackers that are connected to that same Wi-Fi can steal your data. But with a virtual private network or VPN like PIA, you can hide your IP address and encrypt your internet connection. PIA protects your personal data with its world-class server infrastructure and a proven no-log policy, which was verified by a third-party audit in court. And I especially love PIA because I'm someone that watches a lot of shows and movies, but when you use streaming services like Netflix, like Prime, like Disney Plus, without PIA, it's like paying for business class but then getting economy. Because these streaming services offer a vast selection of content, but many are restricted by location. But PIA allows you to bypass these restrictions by changing your IP address, and you have the option to change it to one of 91 countries and all 50 states. It is very easy to both install and use. You can protect an unlimited amount of devices simultaneously with only one subscription. By using my link, you can get an 83% discount on private internet access, which is just $2.03 a month, and you'll get 4 months extra for free. And signing up is risk-free because there is a 30-day money-back guarantee with 24/7 customer support available. So make sure you click the link below to take advantage of this amazing offer, and thank you again to PIA for being today's sponsor. Now back to the video. Then the bi character and the lesbian character hook up, and I found that a bit weird because we already have, I think we have like 3 hookup scenes, right? And you're telling me that just because you have gay people in this conversion camp, they can't not hook up with someone for a week? Because this whole thing, I believe in the beginning, they said, we're going to be here for a week before you've completed the program, right? So it's like, what's the probability of them finding one another attractive and wanting to do that? I mean, you only had to really wait a week. Oh yeah, and it was revealed before the other couple hooked up that the bisexual girl wasn't really there because she wanted to change, but she was writing a college paper, which is interesting. You know, I don't know how realistic that is either, that you're going to be putting yourself through all of that for a college paper, but there's also a scene where one of the workers is spying on the women's cabin with like cameras and stuff, and then the first schmurder happens. Mind you, this is 46-ish minutes into the movie. That's supposed to be scary. That has this typical, you know, camp killer sort of plot, but we waited 46 minutes?
Finally!
So he dies. Also, while the men are shooting the guns, the counselor says, okay, that was pretty manly, but the ultimate test, we have to kill something. So he tells them, you have to kill my dog Duke. Why? Because he has cancer. Like, you just have to kill an animal, he says. So Jordan ends up having to pull the trigger.
Shooting paper targets is one thing, but it's not the biological imperative, is it? Shooting flesh, ripping flesh, eating flesh. That's our genetic programming, gentlemen. Shoot him. He's got cancer.
There's also this guy that looks like Elliot Page. So he hooks up with this gay guy, but that was a trap. He was sent by the counselors, which again was so weird because the counselors let them like sleep together before saying, oh, gotcha, you're really gay. Gabriel, the guy that tricked the other guy, yeah, he's electrocuted to death. This movie does show and talk about the dark reality of conversion therapy, and they showed this in the movie where the guy is given these little shocks, like electrocuted. Now, you could be having some identity crisis and identify with some label, and that's not really you, and then you find out later in life that's possible, and that happens a lot, especially nowadays. But if someone really is gay, you can't shock the gay out of them. And survivors of this kind of conversion therapy often report all kinds of different trauma, psychological damage, which happened from this like aversion therapy, right? So it's unethical and harmful for many reasons. There's also no scientific evidence to support the effectiveness of this sort of therapy. So there are some very serious elements in this movie. And it's just weird when you randomly have them singing, for example, right? Or when you're showing these relationships on the side, it just doesn't fit together, in my opinion. It's just all over the place. Now, finally, it's revealed who the killer is. It's Molly. No one saw that coming.
Molly.
Oh, no, I'm not Molly. My name's Angie.
The counselor who really cared about what was happening. This really, really frustrated me because you waited like the entire movie for some reveal, for it to be shocking and interesting. It's Molly. It's so disappointing. It's probably the most predictable killer reveal I have ever seen. And I think maybe what they were going for is that the audience would be thinking, oh, no, it couldn't be Molly because that would be too predictable. And then when it was Molly, we would say, wow, no way. But it just didn't happen that way. It was so predictable that it was annoying. And then she's yelling at Jordan to kill the counselor because of how evil he is. Jordan doesn't. So she does it instead.
You're strong enough to do this, Jordan.
No, I'm strong enough to not do this.
Then she says, well, come on, Jordan, let's go kill all of the counselors at these conversion camps. And Jordan says, well, no, that's not the solution here. I may disagree with what's happening here, and, you know, there was abuse in the past, but we shouldn't then go on a killing spree and kill the homophobic people, right? Good. I actually really like that message, that there are two extremes. It's not the worst thing I've ever watched in my entire life, but it was just bad because it was all over the place. I think they just tried to put too much into the movie. They wanted them to have this musical number. They wanted them to be killing people. They wanted to add some romance, but it just, too much. You know, we didn't even care about the characters because of how quickly everything was happening. No character development. We didn't really get to know anyone.
Are you up for this? They're scared and it's a long way to town.
Honey, please. I'm a black transgender woman. I could do it in heels.
You live your best life.
And that's all for today's video, guys. Please let me know what you think about this in the comments below. Also remember to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Follow me on my other socials in the description, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye.